I'm Kay Cote, your host of the Business Spotlight series, and today I have Stacey Ferguson-Czersovski of the Venue Experts as a guest on my show. Today we're going to be talking all about her business, her journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a sneak peek to what it's like to own and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get episodes that drop just like this one. Hey, Stacey, how's it going? I'd love to learn a little bit about you and your business.
Hi, Kay. It's lovely to meet you. Of course, don't know where to start really. It's actually our third birthday this week, so it's super exciting. Yeah.
Happy birthday. That's amazing. I love that.
You. We've been having cake and party hats. Have been in the office all week. So I think to reach 3 years in a business is such an achievement. So yeah, so that's really exciting. But I founded the business in April 2021. Prior to that, I was in the wedding industry for the last 20 years. So very much in my comfort zone in weddings. And what the Venue Experts is a sales and marketing company. And we work with wedding venues across the UK mainly, but we have one in beautiful Santorini and Dublin.
Ooh.
And our sort of tagline is that we turbocharge these venues. So I've got as much energy as you can imagine. So we like to really work with venues and turbocharge their business. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what we do.
I love that. And I totally understand like the event space. Like you need
Yeah.
all that energy that you can get. So it sounds like you're doing something incredible. So I'd like to really dive in and kind of like set the stage for our listeners and kind of get that structure of your business. So generally speaking, does your current ownership structure, like what does that look like? Are you a sole owner? Do you have a staff? What's that look like for you?
Yeah, so I started a business myself, which is a very scary thing to do. I've always been, well, for a long time, I've been self-employed. So I was a single woman doing my business on my own, and I loved that because had the full autonomy. I knew myself and I knew what I could do. But then I got to a point where it was so in demand. I was literally working from 4 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week, not seeing my husband, my kids. So it was really that moment I thought, I've got something here. I need to get a team around me. So that's when I went limited in April 2021. Prior to that, I wanted to test the idea out because I have to be sure that something's going to work before I start employing people, because that's just really scary. So I tested the idea out for 18 months with a group of venues. We achieved phenomenal results. And this was during COVID, which was horrendous. There were no events happening. But the results that we achieved were just, we sold the most amount of weddings ever when you couldn't leave your house. So that just sort of shows how good we are, which is great. And then actually the venues that I was working with in that time loved the idea of the Venue Experts and became my business partner. So it's mainly the two of us who own the business. I'm the CEO and founder of the business, so I sort of spearhead the direction. And then I've got a group of amazing people. So there's 8 employees in my team. And then we work with freelancers as well, because as an outsourced company, it's important to recognize that that's such a great thing to work with other freelancers. So it's growing all the time, which is, great, but super scary. And yeah.
Well, definitely. Well, that is an incredible feat, especially because I know when you said you had founded it, it was right around that time of like during the COVID time. So as an
Yeah.
event space or an event company, that to conquer during that is it just shows something about what you're building, and that's really inspiring. So I'd love
Right.
to like dive in. What's your role, like your kind of your day to day as the founder? I know founders wear a ton of hats. What does
Yeah.
your role look like during the day?
Yeah, so every day is different. I'm sure everyone will say that. But because we're in marketing, I pretty much have my phone in my hands 24/7. Much to the annoyance of my husband, who doesn't get social media particularly. But so every day is different. So I like to get up. I know it's not great for well-being, but I'm straight on my phone to see what's happening. I've got multiple WhatsApp groups with all my clients, but all my team. So I like to check the channels. I like to see if anything has gone viral that we've done, because that's an exciting way to start the day. And then I'm quite into fitness. So I went for a run this morning at 5 o'clock. I am one of those annoying people that 5 o'clock is my time. That's when I'm most awake. So, it's 4 o'clock now, and this is like quite late in the day for me. I'm a morning person. But then I come into the office, see where everybody's at. We set goals constantly. So it's checking in with the team, making sure that they're supported. Last week we went to an amazing group of 6 venues in the Northeast. We did an audit with them. So my day-to-day is completely driven through what the business needs. I like to kind of specialize in the audits, the consultancy, the high-level things. And then I have the full support of my team. So every day is pretty different.
I can believe it. Well, I like that, I always resonate with other business owners too, who like you kind of set your day up for success with your morning
Yeah.
routine and that fuels your day forward. So that's really cool. And so who would you say, I'd like to dive into kind of who your customer, your client is, like who primarily you're serving. If I were in your audience, how would I know I'd be a good fit for your services?
Yeah, sure. So we're very niche, and that was a real scary thing to do when I started sales and marketing. A lot of the advice I was given from the circle of business owners that I knew was saying, why are you concentrating on weddings? Why not just do all events? But I really knew this was a space that nobody else was looking at. So there was such opportunity there. So my ideal clients are wedding venues or event spaces that would like to do weddings and need guidance to how they're going to do that. So in the UK, there's so many amazing estates that have maybe an old farm building or a barn, or they need money to put back into their properties. And so they would be my ideal clients. Somebody that does weddings and wants some more, or someone that's thinking, I've got this amazing house, what do I do with it? Or this barn, or this land for a marquee or a teepee. Yeah, that's my ideal client, because that's who I can help the most.
Oh, definitely. And I'm just curious for just my own curiosity for your business. What is, do you have any venue that has really just surprised you or that you really were taken aback by that was like full of beauty are they all kind of unique? Really hard to
I
choose?
did. I actually did a TikTok yesterday. Because I always get asked what's my favorite venue, and I'm like, oh, it's this one. And then I'll see another, and I'm like, oh my God, it's this one. I'm quite fickle. I tend to flop to a new favorite every time I meet a new venue, because they all have something amazing. But for me, it would be something with history. We have this amazing priory, Hodsop Priory, one of my first clients actually that's still with me. Henry VIII visited there, and there's an amazing gatehouse which is in the shape of a H that was built just for him. And it's just got so much history about. Every time I visit, I'm like, wow, this is my favorite. So
That
yeah.
is incredible. Like the history of the country, I can imagine like with the old buildings and the monuments and the structures and the like
Yeah.
places it's just breathtaking. I
Yeah.
definitely want to visit someday.
Oh, you should. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Oh, definitely.
yeah, it's
For
great.
sure. So like kind of looking at what makes your business unique, this is where feel free to just kind of give us the spa treatment of your business. Like why do your customers or why do your clients choose you?
Yeah, of course. I think as well as the energy that I bring 20 years of experience in this sector. I'm not a sales and marketing professional that also works with builders or plumbers or estate agents. I just do weddings. So I live and breathe weddings, trends, what's coming, what are you guys doing in the States? What's going to be the next thing? How do you future-proof your business? You work with me because I live and breathe it. So that's what makes me unique. As far as I'm aware, there's no one else quite doing what we do. There's some amazing people in the same space, and they are amazing at what they do. But there's no one quite doing what we do or achieving what the results that we achieve. So yeah, I'd say that's probably what makes us unique.
That is incredible, especially in the wedding industry. So I'd like to like understand too, how do your competitors compare with you? Like what's kind of setting you apart?
Yeah, so in terms of competitors, we have consultants in the space who are all great, and I follow them and I love what they do, and I try and support as I can. But there isn't anyone that's niched so much into weddings that just concentrates on sales and marketing for weddings. It's really important to know where best to place your money, your marketing spend, and what return on investments you're going to be getting with that spend, and creating strategies just for wedding venues. That there isn't anyone else doing that. I'm sure there will be, but I'm a born saleswoman, and I like to think I'm the best at what I do. But yeah, I think that's what makes us really unique. There's no one else quite doing what we do. Yeah.
Well, that leads me right into the next section of questions, which is all about marketing. And it sounds like you've got some savvy knowledge on that. So I'd love to dive in and share with these other business owners who are listening about what you're doing that works. So I'm curious about that successful, like what's bringing you success in your marketing. So what kind of monthly budget would you say out of your sales typically goes invested back into the marketing?
Okay, so a lot of what we do is quite organic. LinkedIn is, I think I always say my business was built on LinkedIn, basically. For years and years and years, I've been consistent with documenting my journey almost, the wins, but also the days where it's not so good. So for any business out there, I think consistent and transparent, authentic marketing is the best. So even if you have no budget, just to sit down on a Sunday, prepare content that's going to go out for the week ahead, or further if you can, is really, really important. And that goes across different industries. But LinkedIn, I think every business should be on there. You build up a support system. I think I've got like 8,000 followers, but lots of those have been on me on my journey as well. So they're always like cheering from the sidelines, and that's great. But another thing I think is important to identify who your ideal client is, and to make sure you're in that space so they see you. So I know a lot of the venue owners who are my ideal clients, they hang around on LinkedIn. They're not on Instagram or TikTok. So I make sure that I'm on there speaking to them. But I'm also on TikTok because personally, I love that platform.
I need to use that one more. And I
Yeah, it's
really like
fun.
it is a fun one. You can get caught up though. I get caught up in
Oh,
like the cat
definitely.
videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love what you talked about because it's, when you think about your marketing and think about what you're doing, it sounds like you're focusing on storytelling, especially with your
Yeah, absolutely.
personal. And
Yeah.
I think that's so important. So, what are your tips for storytelling for your brand and like kind of bringing yourself into it? Because I know that's kind of where a struggle point for a lot of business owners is getting on the camera, getting on the phone and,
Mhm.
making that connection with their audience. So, do you have any tips and tricks for that?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of it is confidence. I know when I started this business, and I had a social media colleague, and she was saying, "We need to see you and you see your face." I was like, "Oh no, 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 I can't." But why couldn't I? I heard an amazing podcast, and it was like, "What's the worst that's going to happen? Will you die if your face is on Instagram?" No, you will not, right? And the best thing that can happen is that people really relate to you, and they buy into you, because people want to buy from people that they like, they look up to, or just like them. So there's way more pros than cons, definitely. So I would say just go for it, but try and be consistent as well. Like, don't just show up now and again. Like, make sure you're consistent, and just be you, because you are your business.
Very good advice and consistency. That is the key. I feel like too with all like a lot of aspects and especially like, yeah, once you break through that fear barrier, like you said, you get that
Yeah.
confidence and then I think it can grow and grow and you get more comfortable speaking and then share more and your audience starts to really resonate with you. So thank you for sharing those tips.
Yeah, no worries at all. I recently overcame a massive fear, and that was public speaking. It was a massive journey for me. I was invited to speak at industry events across the country. And I sort of, within a moment of just saying yes to things and putting myself outside my comfort zone. So I said yes, and then panicked. Um, so I did it. And the first time I was awful. I was really, really bad. But the second, third, fourth, I got better and better and better. And now looking back, it's like, wow, I can do that now. So yeah, just go for it.
Just go for it. That I totally relate to you on that, in that aspect of business and which leads me great into kind of like you're building, like you said, you're building about 8,000 followers. You've got lots of vendors you're working with. Do
Yeah.
you have an approach you like to take to kind of track who you're working with, track your leads? Do you have like a CRM that you use
Mhm.
as your business grows?
Yeah, absolutely. So we use HubSpot. I've worked with lots of different CRMs, but for me, HubSpot gives me the greatest visibility. My team laughed because I love data so much, because they will also laugh that I always say data tells you a story, right? I want to know. I live on Google Analytics. Like, that app is the most used app on my phone. I want to know where people are, how they found my website, what was their experience on the site, how can I make that better? How can I invest in the things that brought them to me? But then, then they bought from me. Like, I want to understand the behind the sales psychology of that. So what HubSpot does is it allows me to see very clearly how they were brought into my website and their journey. So yeah, I'm very hot on that.
That is amazing. I really like HubSpot myself too. I think it's just like really user friendly and can
Yeah.
do a lot of things. And so it's been fun talking about your marketing. And now I kind of want to dive into a little bit about you and share a bit
Oh,
about your story,
yeah.
to, connect our audience with like the person behind the business. So what made you choose to go into business for yourself as opposed to, working for somebody else? And what was that transition like for you?
Yeah, sure. So I've been self-employed for quite a long time, and that's because I'm a mum mainly. I have three daughters, and in
Oh.
the world of events, as you probably know, they happen on weekends, evenings. It's not very parent-friendly industry, but I love it. And if you're passionate and you love something, you find a way, I think. So I was a wedding an event manager, so I was constantly working, and it got to a point where I could no longer really do that. I was missing too much of my kids and my family, and missing weddings all the time. My
Hmm.
friends' weddings, just
Yeah,
because I had to work.
it makes
um,
sense.
yeah, so it was have to do something. I have to do. I want to leave the industry that I love, but I love my kids more, so I have to do something for them and for myself. So working as an event manager who has to plan the weddings, run the weddings, but also bring the business in and do the odd social media post, it's just hard to wear that many hats. And there was sort of a light bulb moment where it was like, well, why can't someone else help me with that bit? And I do this bit. So it was that light bulb literally. And then I just did it. I'm a very big risk taker anyway. So it was like, I'm just going to go all in and do that. And I did. And it's worked, thankfully.
Oh, I absolutely love that story. And it is like sometimes taking that leap of faith that kind of pre-calculated, but still there's a
Yeah.
wild card to it. So I dig that a lot.
Yeah.
As you kind of look back at your journey so far, I'd like to share what has been one memorable roadblock or hurdle that challenged you that you were forced to overcome, and how did that impact your growth as a business owner?
Yeah. I think when I lost my first client, oh,
Oh,
it was like a dagger to the heart. It was
yeah.
bad. I think I'm very dramatic as well. So I lost a client, but I'd already known at the beginning of that relationship it wasn't a long-term thing, but I sort of hoped it would be.
Mhm.
So when you get the call and you say, okay, we're ready to sort of, move on, it's hard. It's really hard because you automatically go to what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? And be quite critical of yourself. But also I learned so much from that as well. So, and it helped me develop a new service, which was a shorter version of what I'm doing. So I can work with a client on a shorter basis to prepare them. And then, we all know where we are. And it also helped me to look at the future of the business. What are the peaks and what are the lows of the year? And now we're in year 3. I know when they're coming, so I can make sure that I'm prepared. But
Mhm.
yeah, I remember exactly where I was in the office when I got the call, and I'm about over it now. And we're all friends, so it's fine. But that was a massive thing when losing your first client. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I see how you found a way to kind of remedy and find like a new, like you said, you had like an outcome that was positive in
Yeah.
terms of your business. And you kind of mentioned about the moving forward with the business, like what's coming up. So that actually is my next question is
Okay.
where do you see how this has been great. You're leading me right into these amazing, like it's
Amazing.
perfect flow.
Protein.
So where do you see your business going in the next 3 to 5 years?
So it's really exciting. We've got new services being launched, and I am 100 miles an hour all the time. But what I would really like is in 5 years' time to have a very stable business that works with a
Mm,
set amount of clients. I'm very aspirational, but I recognize in a business to have a secure business that is ticking over, being amazing, amazing results, the team are happy. That is really my goal. And that is so different to when I started. And my goal was, I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to work with every wedding venue in the world. No, so it's moved a lot, but it's still very exciting. But I think in 5 years' time, it will be at that place where it's like, we've got it. We're good.
mm,
Everything is just as it should be. Like yeah. So
in and
probably that.
flow. I
Yeah.
love that too. And kind of like looking at your goals, like so you're setting for your next 3 to 5 years. I I'd like to dive in. What is your approach to goal setting, and how many goals do you like to set at one time?
So we do this on a day-to-day, well, a week-to-week basis for our clients. And I will admit, it's far easier to work on my clients' goals and my clients' strategy than it is my own. And I think a lot of marketers will also say, don't look at my personal Instagram because I haven't posted on that in wherever. Look at my business Instagram. So I do find it's a lot easier to work on other people's goals than it is myself. However, we've recognized it's important to do that. I've got a team of people that I'm responsible for, so I need to make sure that we're all going in the same direction. So we've started to take a day out of the business a month, and we call it a strategy day. And myself and EJ, who's my senior manager at the company, we just take ourselves away from the business. We make sure that we're still on track for all those goals. And it could be commercial goals, it could be we've got sustainable goals that we're working towards, working with the Sustainable Wedding Alliance, because to get to the B Corp status would be amazing, but how do we get there? So we like to take time out of the business to work on the business, which is easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think we could be
Definitely.
better in that area, to be honest. And I know that you guys help with that, so that's great.
Definitely. That's something we can conquer. And how would you describe your leadership style? You're working with your team and working on these developments. How would you describe it, and how has it changed over the years in business?
Yeah, it certainly has changed. I don't know if you've seen that reel going around about I'm a millennial manager, and that's kind of me. I'm like, how are you? I'm
Like
really
that too.
invested in them. People are like, are you okay? Just as long as you get your work done, I don't care what hours you work. Yeah, I like to be one of the team. And I like to think that I'm a good motivator of people. I like to inspire people, get them excited about things. The team would probably say I'm a bit like a Labrador puppy. I'm very happy, energy. That's what I do. But EJ, who I mentioned before, so she's the general manager of my business. She's so good at the day-to-day people management. And I've
Mhm.
learned as well that I'm not great at that really. I'm a big ideas person. I'm in sales. I'm, thinking big ideas, but I need someone on the ground that's gonna make sure the ideas happen and be there for the team all the time. So that's changed as well throughout my journey in the last 3 years. People management is hard.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, I
Yeah.
I share your sentiment on that. And, this has been such an incredible conversation. I've loved hearing about you, your business. And I think, to all of our viewers and listeners out there, take a couple times through this and enjoy it. There's so many wisdom nuggets that you've shared today. And
Thank
I'd like to
you.
that. Yes, of course. And now we're ready for some rapid fire questions. They are fun. And just think of top of mind answers to these questions, and there's 4 questions. Are you ready for some rapid fire?
I think so. I don't know. Yes.
Okay. The first question is, what is the key to success for you?
He's success. I think it's belief and confidence in myself. And that trickles down to the team. So yeah, that's my answer.
I love that. And what is one piece of advice that you have for other business owners?
I think be consistent and authentic in your marketing. And get on LinkedIn if you're not on LinkedIn.
What is one piece of advice, or what is one book you're reading, or a piece of content that you're taking in or have taken in recently? It could be a podcast, anything that has impacted you.
So I'm not reading as many business books as I should be. I'm a bit into romantic fantasy. That's my guilty pleasure. But in terms of podcasts, I really like Rob Dial. They're short and motivational, mindset mentor. I like that.
Awesome. And the last question is, if you had to choose only one area of your business that you could rapidly change tomorrow and improve on tomorrow, what would it be?
You on, gosh. I might try and expand that a little bit if I can.
Of
Tell me
course.
if it's not allowed. But I think being in the wedding industry, it's quite unpredictable it's in the economic climate at the moment. It really affects us, and it's outside of our control. So lead times and things like that, and people being able to afford weddings it's outside of our control in sales and marketing. So it would be to wave a magic wand and yeah, just make our industry that we're in just smoother, probably.
Definitely. Well, those were amazing answers. And before we get to our final question of the day, let's talk about where can people find you, share any contact info that you want to share today.
Oh, thanks so much. So if you pop along to our website, thevenueexperts.co.uk, there's lots on there. There's lots of blogs as well that will just help, lots of free advice. And then I am on LinkedIn. So Stacey Ferguson-Czersovski. If you put Stacey Ferguson in, you'll probably find me. And then we're on TikTok and Instagram at TV or The Venue Experts.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stacey. This has been great. And we have our final question for today. What is most inspiring to you today?
Wow. I would have to go with my team. I mean, they are amazing. And every time I come in the office, there's something going on. They lift each other up. That family is the wrong word. I heard a term recently and it described a team as a sports team. And I love that. And that's what I think that we are. So they inspire me.
That is incredible too. Well, thank you so much, Stacey. It has been a joy to interview you today and talk to you about your
Thank
business and learn
you.
about you. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Kay.